All right, everyone. Mount Vernon PD. As you see here, this is the Mount Vernon Police and Court Campus. I'm here to follow up with a report that I filed against Officer Shaddy for his clear violation of my civil rights. Also here to figure out why these guys are refusing to do their jobs. How's it going? Cool. We can speak inside since it's cold and raining out.
We'll speak out here.
No, we can speak inside.
We'll speak out here.
This is a government building. This is a public lobby. You cannot prevent me from entering. Thank you. Hi. I'll speak with them in just a moment, but I do have a question. Can I get the case numbers printed out for all the reports I filed against the Mount Vernon PD officers, please?
You can request cases online.
Online requires entering my personal information, and I'd rather not do that because under the Fourth Amendment, we are guaranteed to not have to give that information if I don't want to. So I would like to submit the FOIA request without having to surrender my Fourth Amendment rights.
You can fill this out.
Appreciate it, thank you. I've already said we can speak in here. You got a room right here that we can use. We have a room right here we can use. Or we can speak in public lobby. Funny, because on my way down here, I saw one officer driving, and I flipped him the bird, as is my First Amendment right. Must have told these guys I was on my way down. Apparently they don't know I'd rather speak in the public lobby because look at this. Camera, dome. Cameras all over in here. I think they just don't want to admit accountability is what it is. They think I'm going to speak to them out there in the cold where they're going to freeze me out. They're sadly mistaken. Out there is just as public as in here. And I know what their plan is. They want me to do it out there because if I start raising my voice, they can try to use the businesses around me to solicit a disorderly. It's a good underhanded tactic, but it won't work, unfortunately. See, right now, they're currently in violation of 9A.80.010, official misconduct of a public servant. Are these guys planning to help me out anytime soon? Because I'm not going to stand out there where it's freezing. These guys have already tried for the disorderly and trespass once, and it already failed. And they already set themselves up for a First Amendment right lawsuit for that. So these guys can respect my wishes, and we can talk in here where it's warm. In here is just as in public as out there. So if you could inform them of that, that'd be great. Because I'm not going to sit here and have my rights deprived.
I cannot inform them of that. You need to talk to them if you want their.
Well, I already have informed them that I would prefer to talk in here where it's warm. If they're refusing, that is their willful refusal, which is a violation of 9A.80.10 of official misconduct of a public servant. So, pretty good. How are you doing, Sergeant Maxwell?
Very well. So, rather than air all your business here, you can step into this room here and have a conversation. You can on your phone, or you can step outside and have a conversation.
Well, we can go in the room there. I don't mind. I've already suggested it to him here. I kind of already had a feeling you guys knew I was coming because the one officer probably reported it as he drove by, correct?
Well, that was me that was driving by. I was going to high school for a traffic
Yeah.
violation.
Yeah, but I kind of figured you kind of already let them know in advance, so.
Okay, what can I do for you, Dylan?
So I've got some paperwork here
Okay.
because I'm here to follow up on some stuff.
Okay.
Because first and foremost, you guys attempted to file charges against me for trespass when I was here conducting lawful business on March 28th of this year. That was Officer Shaddy who requested the trespass, and Officer Cohen who issued it, or Sergeant Cohen that issued it. And he should know better, especially as a sergeant, that that is unlawful to trespass a citizen from public property when they are there for lawful reasons, conducting lawful business. And the fact that they trespassed me just because the front desk lady didn't like the fact that I called one officer a dumbass. Beck versus Upland, Payne versus Pauley, Johnson versus Campbell. Language and tone of voice, especially when directed at an officer, is still considered free speech, and language alone, such as swear words, do not condone disorderly conduct. So it's sad that they sat there and tried to charge me with that in violation of my 14th Amendment right and First Amendment rights, which, by the way, thanks to Officer Robinson and one of the phone calls I made with him, in which he spoke to me, he even clearly admitted that the other three officers wanted to arrest me that day. Under 18 U.S.C. 241 and 18 U.S.C. 242, that is clearly conspiracy to deprive a citizen of rights, and considering the fact that they refused to take any of my reports that day, that is a clear deprivation of rights under the First and 14th Amendment. So I would first and foremost like to know what is going on with my report that I did file, and I know for a fact I made multiple phone calls against Sergeant Shaddy, or Officer Shaddy, and the other officers for their official misconduct under 9A.80.10 and their willful refusal to enact law, which also is another gross misdemeanor, might I add.
That's a good question. I don't, to give you an update, I don't know yet, so I'd have to find that out.
Is there a reason I was not given a case number when I made that report, as per your policy?
I could provide you with one.
I would like that. That's part of the reason why I'm here, to get all those case numbers.
Perfect. Which case numbers would you like? Just that date? The March
All the
28th?
case numbers for all the calls I've made against all the officers for their official misconduct. I would like the status of the
Hold on a second. I
reports.
want to make sure I get this because I don't want to miss anything.
Well, your body cam should still be going, but it looks like it's not.
No, it's on.
I don't see the red lights.
Mine's on. That's all you need to know. So, I want to get this right. Case numbers for all the calls.
Yep. Investigation status reports.
Calls against, just specifically against officers or just calls?
Well, just officers, as well as against the prosecuting attorney, because he is a public servant by definition under law as well. And considering he has also willfully refused to file the charges for the reports I filed, that also puts him in violation of law too for 2 misdemeanors, both failure of duty and official misconduct, as well as 18 U.S.C. 241, deprivation of civil rights. Considering he has clearly violated my 14th Amendment against undue protection and unequal treatment under color of law.
Okay.
And the fact that your guys' officers still refuse to report against him too, kind of disgraceful.
So we're looking for case numbers on all those. Both officer complaints and prosecutor complaints or prosecutorial misconduct.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking for.
I would also like an update into the investigation and charges of Jennifer Hartman, my son's mother, for her clear parental or custodial interference under 9A 40060, paragraphs 2 and 3, considering she held my son, and I have evidence of that here with me, without lawful order or reasoning, for months refusing to let me see him, clearly making threats to get a parenting plan if I wanted to see him again. Go ahead.
I was curious about, is there a parenting plan currently in place?
There is currently a parenting plan in place, which, yes, I am, which makes it a violation under paragraph 2, a lawful court order giving residential provisions. A parenting plan is such order as defined in legislation under State versus Vilas. However, paragraph 3, which was also created under that same RCW because of State versus Vilas, which is a 2019 case, by the way, contains the clear narration that if there is no lawful order preventing contact and one parent keeps a minor child from the other parent with intent to deprive access for a protracted period, it is still a Class C felony under RCW 9A 40060. Again, that's paragraph 3. There was no lawful court order at the time. I have clear proof here. Wouldn't be kidnapping if I don't leave state. Take me to court.
So are these
I'm fixing to take you to court because you're pissing me off.
Dylan, are these her and you?
Yeah,
writing down?
Jennifer Hartman.
Gotcha.
See the picture here? Mine are all over here. Hers are here. Mine are here. So this is my message. This is my message. Hers, 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 hers. Look at this. Take me to court. Take me to court. I'm going to get pissed.
And these correct dates right here back in
Yep.
22.
February 18th, 2022. I've made so many reports over the past 2.5 years, and each and every time I've got video of Officer Von Dyke telling me it's not a crime. I'm sorry, but can she not read? Did she not go to school? Is she a lawyer? Here's a question. Why is it when I just called and got off the phone with Officer Ocampo, he's telling me to contact the prosecuting attorney about this? Is he allowed to give legal advice? Is he a lawyer?
Do you want me to answer your question?
Those are rhetorical, but because I already know you know the answer to those, or at least you should. So I think you know. It's clear that I understand.
Sure.
Take me to court. We can talk in court.
Okay, can I recap just so I have the information that you're requesting right, so I can get that right? Okay, so what I got on my notes is we're looking for cases related to complaints with officers and prosecutorial misconduct. So we're looking for the case numbers on those.
Correct.
Case numbers, so you can have those provided to you. And specifically, March 28th was a date you mentioned, right?
Because that's the day I came in. That's my video from when I came in to last attempt to report, the day that they unlawfully trespassed me and clearly conspired against my rights. There's also December 27th, 2023. I do have video from that as well. I tried to come over. I was speaking with one officer out here in the parking lot. Officer Shaddy pulls up halfway through the convo and starts telling me it's not against the law. It's not a crime. She can keep my son from me without a lawful order and without lawful reasoning, apparently. So she's allowed to commit a felony, is what he's saying. She's allowed to break the law.
Okay.
And then on top of that, you have body cam, which I've already FOIA requested from that same day from Officer Shaddy, where him and Officer Von Dyke clearly conspire against my rights after both coming out here, because you guys always want me to speak outside, which I'm well aware is a tactic because of my autism. If I start getting escalated tone, You guys try to use that for disorderly. Good try, but that itself is not enough for disorderly, as I've already covered. Considering the fact that it's outlined here, in fact, page 23 even. Let's see here. This is the GAL report for my custody case. April 3rd, 2024, Mount Vernon Municipal Court, disorderly conduct, found not guilty.
Okay.
So it's clear your guys as officers don't properly know how to handle the law, let alone handle somebody with disabilities. 74.34.020, paragraph 21C covers developmental disabilities, which lists a subsection under 71A. Paragraph 6 of that RCW contains developmental disabilities and defines autism as one of them. Are you aware of 74.34.020, paragraph 2C and D?
I'm going to say you're probably well more aware of it than I am.
Covers mental abuse and personal exploitation. Did you know the willful inaction to act explicitly when it comes to law, or the willful inaction to protect a disabled individual, is actually considered a form of mental abuse? Ridicule, yelling, swearing, etc. at a disabled person is considered a form of mental abuse and therefore considered a gross misdemeanor. D covers personal exploitation. Causing a disabled individual to act in a way inconsistent with relevant past behavior. The meltdowns and such that you guys have been witnessing because of my ex keeping my son from me without lawful order, her clear harassment, her husband's clear harassment, their clear violations of court orders that you guys refuse to enforce, saying it's not a crime. And you wonder why I had experienced meltdowns, and then you guys want to arrest me over it. Did you guys charge Kyle Hartman at all for his violations of his court order that I had against him, protecting me that he had knowledge of? 22-1.
Is it rhetorical, or you want me to answer?
No, I want to answer on this one.
I'd have to look.
22-1-20810-29 is that court order, I believe. He violated it multiple times, drove past my apartment, committed the act of cyber harassment, cyber stalking, had third parties contact me and harass me. You know what I was told? Oh, just go to court, get another restraining order. So he can commit cyber harassment, which is a felony, and get away with it. Your cops can give legal advice, again, without actually enforcing law and protecting a vulnerable adult. But it's kind of funny. I have a court order against me protecting my ex from me, and vice versa, me against her protecting me from her. She can deprive me of my right to see my son. She can sit there and use that to harass me and disturb my peace, which is apparently not a crime and not a violation of the order, even though the order prohibits it, which is also an act of domestic violence. So she can get away with violation of the order. But yet when I contact her, as told, don't make any threats. Yeah, sure, I may have wished ill will and said some harsh things, but that's my First Amendment right. No threats were ever made. But yet you guys try to charge me for cyber harassment and all that, and then you tack on DV? I'm sorry, but isn't that a violation of my 14th Amendment, considering you had knowledge of Kyle Hartman, her husband, doing the same thing and both them violating court orders?
I'm curious, were you charged?
Yeah, or I'm charged but not found guilty yet. It's still pending trial and all that stuff, so I'm not convicted.
That's an open case.
It's an open case, yeah, which means I can still easily counter you guys and file for a civil rights deprivation lawsuit, unless you guys want to drop it and settle. But that's up to you guys and your prosecutor, and obviously your prosecutor seems fit on violating my rights as well. So I don't know where to go on that. Maybe I should file against the city and the county and you guys and him, and because the deprivation of rights is clear. 9.29, excessive force, for example, under the 14th Amendment. 8+ officers showing up with riot shields, ARs drawn for a person with autism. known to not be aggressive, known to not be violent or hostile unless he's clearly defending himself. Yeah, no, I know that face. You had an instant referral to the ITA back in February of 2020, and I'm well aware that you're aware of that. I know that's what the flashback came for. And you're also aware of the fact that that ITA was found unlawful, because even the hospital says it was a misunderstanding. You have conflicting reports in that document. 2 officers said I was depressed and suicidal. 1 officer said I wasn't. So
Actually, what I was gonna say is I was unaware of the shield thing, so I was kind of curious of when that occurred.
oh yeah, that quite a
was
while. That was July 25th of this year.
July 25th.
Yeah. And then you had Sergeant Martinez laughing about it openly in front of my neighbors as I went on to declare how it was a violation of my 14th Amendment. 8+ officers heard it, 8+ with body cameras. Let's see, Officer Reed, B. Reed, I'm guessing her first name's Brittany. Kind of funny that the cell I was in also happened to have Brittany plus Dylan 8::45 written or engraved in the mirror too.
That's an odd coincidence.
Yeah, especially considering it had my first name and her first name on it.
Very odd coincidence. Okay, can I recap with you? Just so I have it straight. So I got the case numbers. I got the...
You have evidence even right here. Look at this. Did you follow me to Robbie's? Because if you did, I'm not going to be happy. You can see it before. You can see him tomorrow before I leave for work. That's it until stuff gets settled in court. February 20th, 2022.
Can I ask a question on this? The notebook here is very well organized.
That's because this is my evidence binder for my parenting case, all of which contains evidence has been previously submitted to you guys that you guys have continuously refused to prosecute and said is not a crime, even though the law makes it clear it is.
Okay.
Parental alienation, are you aware of that? It's when the government starts aiding a parent in depriving a citizen of their parental rights under the 14th Amendment.
So let me ask you...
9.32, 14th Amendment, parent or interference with a parent-child relationship.
Okay.
Subjective standard under Part 2 for the deliberate indifference standard, which is willful inaction to enforce court orders, file reports based off custodial interference as per State versus Vilas, etc. So the fact that your guys' department clearly gave legal advice by telling me to go to court rather than enforcing the law when they weren't supposed to, the fact that you guys willfully neglected and refused, the fact that it is clearly documented over the past 2.5 years with video, text, etc. What do you guys plan to do at this point? Do you guys, how do you guys want to proceed? Do you want to put me through to your internal affairs review board? Put me through with your admins? Because, it's clear I have enough to file suit. So we can settle outside of court. I've tried being civil, even though your guys' officers treat me as if I'm not.
I
But
don't make those determinations, and you know that.
that's why I'm saying, who do you want to put me through? Because I'm saying we can be civil about this.
Well, like I said,
I'm recording it, you're recording it, so it's clear on both our ends. So
fantastic. So clearly I don't make those calls. But here's what I'd like to do, because you've given me a lot of information, and I have a lot to digest. I want to take this, if you're willing to stand by for a few minutes here, to my admin to figure out exactly where we're at, so I can coordinate with them to make sure that we're all on the same page, and that I provide you with accurate, clear information, so that no muddy water. And in order to do that, I need to make a couple of calls and talk to a couple of folks.
okay, and is there also a reason why some of your lieutenants, including, say, Lieutenant Green, have been ignoring my calls willfully for months, and why when I call the direct line to the PD, they willfully ignore it, but yet dispatch lines me through every single time? Because that's also a clear deprivation of civil rights under the First Amendment. You cannot willfully ignore a citizen. I don't care if you guys have issues with me or not. I'm a citizen of this state and of this county and of this city. You guys have a duty to perform, an action to follow, and your willful neglect of that is still a violation of the law, which I will not allow. I am autistic. Part of having autism is extreme justice sensitivity in some of us. And coming from a military and police family, mom and dad were both Desert Storm. Grandfather was Vietnam War. I have another grandfather who was chief of police of Cedro for 13+ years, as well as a sheriff and state trooper over in Spokane. So you tell me, you honestly think that I'm happy with the department? You guys make it seem like I hate cops. I don't. I don't like the fact that you guys are willfully neglecting your duties and mishandling this entire situation, just for the record.
I appreciate you. For the record, can I check in on this?
Yes.
Give me a few minutes, give me about 10 minutes, and I'll check back in with you so I can have time to look at what we're talking about here. In the meantime, if you come up with anything else, feel free to notate it, and I'll come back. We'll go from there.
Sounds
Okay?
good.
Hang tight.
I'm gonna wait in the lobby in the meantime because there's more cameras out there.
That's fine, yeah. You want to sit on the side there?
Yep.
Turn this